put this in the I can't believe it section. Yesterday on the Senate floor, Mitch McConnell gave what I'm going to call an impassioned speech defending his record on Russia. That after the mainstream media called McConnell a Russian asset. Here's some of the speech. Roll tape.
Over the last several days, I was called unpatriotic, un-American, and essentially treasonous by a couple of left-wing pundits on the basis of bold-faced lies. I was accused of aiding and abetting the very man I've singled out as an adversary and opposed for nearly 20 years, Vladimir Putin. This modern-day McCarthyism was pushed by big-time outlets. The smear that I am, quote, a Russian asset, ran in the opinion pages of the Washington Post. The accusation that I am, quote, un-American was broadcast on MSNBC.
Oh, gee, I'm glad he spoke out. The gentleman on the right-hand side of the screen is Senator Mike Braun, Republican from Indiana. Just go right at it, Mr. Senator. What's your reaction to McConnell as a Russian asset?
I tell you what, when I saw what Mitch had to do to make his case, it was reminiscent of when I was running to become senator. And Stu, what it's an example of is when your message is so bad in terms of Medicare for all, Green New Deal, anything, you'll say anything to distract from it. And I think it's sad. I know when I ran, the vitriol, the outright lies and distortions. I'm glad Mitch stood up. Republicans have always been wary of Russia, Soviet Union. To me, for the Democrats to stoop that low, it's an example of they're embarrassed about what their crew is running on, and we'll see some of that over the next couple days.
I can't imagine what it's like for you as a business guy operating in a climate ruled by the Washington Post, but that's another story entirely.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on to something real serious here, the budget deal. You're in session until, what is it, Thursday. Mick Mulvaney says President Trump would sign a budget deal if it comes across his desk.
Yep.
So in the next couple of days, can you get this done?
I think it's going to get done. Sadly, it's going to be done in a way that I think is kicking the can down the road. But Leader McConnell, President Trump, you got to remember, they're in the dynamic of divided government. And as much as I don't like it, I will vote against it, because when I ran for Senate, we've got to change our ways here. And even for Democrats who love the federal government, you should think that they'd want a healthy institution. $1 trillion deficits on $22 trillion in debt. I am a finance guy, a Main Street entrepreneur. You only need an 8th grade education to know that it's not going to work. So I'm disappointed. I understand where the leader's coming from. He wants to eliminate the chaos and the uncertainty. And I've challenged both him and President Trump. When we win in 2020, I'm going to remind everyone that we need to start down the pathway of changing what ails this place in general.
Okay, now that's interesting, and I'm going to move on to a related issue. Should the Federal Reserve be lowering interest rates now when the economy is very strong, employment is at historic lows, and the stock market's at record highs? Is this the time to lower rates? What do you say?
You know, I think that we've been blessed, especially with the Jobs Act and tax cut in late December of 17, to where everything is working well. I've never seen it. 3 of my 4 kids run my business. Everything is in place. Democrats always make the case that you can do all these other things like Medicare for all, Green New Deal that would double, maybe triple the size of a government that already doesn't pay for itself. So really you shouldn't need the Fed to help out, but I see so many bad things being done through government. I'd rather hedge my bets and see that the Fed is doing what it's doing. In the long run, Stu, it's like anything. You've got to start living within your means. You can't count on a loose Fed policy, but mostly we need to fix things here in D.C.
I'll say it again. We need more business people in politics, and that's a fact. Senator Braun, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.